All right, welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the future of leadership,
Ooh,
but with a specific focus on education.
right.
Our source material today really dives into how schools can kind of go beyond
Yeah,
just being places of learning and actually become learning organisms
interesting.
themselves.
Yeah, I love that idea. I think
Yeah.
this source does a really good job of challenging that traditional view of leadership,
Hmm.
especially in education. And there's this one quote that I keep coming back to.
Oh, yeah.
It says, "The followers cannot be fooled into obeying the leader without questioning him."
Hmm. What do you make of that? I mean, in the context of education, it almost
Mm.
feels like it's calling for students to be
Right.
more inquisitive, more engaged.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really about moving away from that top-down
Mhm.
authoritarian approach that a lot of us associate with older educational models and really kind of encouraging students to think critically, ask questions, and really participate in shaping their own learning.
Yeah, and it makes me think about the emphasis on strategic advantage planning
Right.
in
Yeah.
in schools. When I first saw that phrase, I was kind of like, is that really what education should be about? Like, shouldn't it be more than just competition?
I get that reaction, but think of it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Schools today need to be really proactive in how they're equipping students for the future.
Okay.
It's about understanding what those skills and knowledge are going to be in high demand down the road,
Mm-hmm.
and then building educational experiences that actually meet those
So
needs.
it's not just about test scores
Not at all.
anymore.
This source highlights 5 factors that contribute to a school's strategic advantage:
Oh, wow. Okay.
strong leadership, innovative curriculum, resource management, skilled staff, and technology integration.
Okay, let's break those down a little bit.
Sure.
I'm particularly intrigued by that innovative curriculum.
Okay.
What would that look like in a school that's actually trying to stand out?
Imagine a school where students aren't just reading about coding in a textbook. They're actually partnering with local tech companies
Oh,
to
oh,
develop real-world applications. Or
oh.
maybe they're designing, sustainable solutions for their community
Mm-hmm.
through a project-based learning program. It's about going beyond that theoretical
Mm-hmm.
and actually giving them hands-on experience with the skills that are really going to shape the future.
So what would you consider the most crucial element
Mm,
for a school to have a real cutting edge?
that is a tough one.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, I'd
Yeah.
say it's that ability to foster adaptability and a love of lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Because in a world that's changing as quickly as ours, is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is probably the most valuable skill you can have.
And that leads perfectly into this whole idea of schools as learning organizations, which
Mm.
honestly, when I first read about it, I was like, wait,
Yeah.
shouldn't schools already be learning organizations?
Yeah, it's a fair question, but this concept goes deeper
Okay.
than just students learning in a school.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the entire school as an entity, constantly evolving, improving, almost like a living, breathing organism.
That's giving me chills.
Yeah.
So what are the driving forces? Like, why is this model so important for education?
Well, the source points to 3 core reasons.
Okay.
The first is survival.
Mm.
In a world where the only constant is change, schools that cling to those outdated models, they risk becoming irrelevant.
So adapt or die.
Exactly.
Mhm.
The second is continuous improvement.
Okay.
A learning organization is always striving to be better, to refine their practices, to respond to those evolving needs of its students and the community.
So it's not about reaching perfection, but just embracing that journey
Right.
of growth.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And then finally, it's about fostering that culture of lifelong learning,
Mm-hmm.
not just for the students, but for the teachers, the administrators, everyone involved.
But creating that kind of transformative environment, it's not exactly easy, is it?
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The document outlines some major obstacles
Mm-hmm.
that schools face when they're trying to become learning organizations.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones is resistance to change.
Yeah.
People get comfortable with the familiar,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not the best way to do things.
Totally.
And that's where strong, adaptable leadership comes in.
Okay.
Leaders who can articulate a compelling vision for the future
Yeah.
and inspire their communities to really embrace that change process.
Which brings us back to that initial point about how leadership is shifting, especially in the context of education.
Yeah.
How does a leader actually navigate that change in a school? What does it look like?
Well, the document provides a roadmap for that using Kotter's 8-step model for change management.
Okay.
It's a powerful framework.
Uh-huh.
And while it's often applied in the business world, it's incredibly relevant to education as well.
I'm familiar with Kotter's model,
Okay.
but I am curious how it translates to a school setting.
Right.
Specifically, that first step, establishing a sense of urgency.
Right.
How would a school leader do that without creating that sense of panic or fear?
It's about clearly and compellingly communicating the need for change. But not through fear-mongering, but through data, real-world examples that resonate with the school community.
So instead of saying, like, we're failing, we have to change everything, it's more about,
Right.
hey, look, enrollment's declining because the curriculum isn't preparing our students for the jobs of the future. We need to adapt to thrive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about presenting a clear and compelling case for change, one that resonates with everyone, from teachers and parents to students themselves.
Yeah.
And the key is to do it in a way that inspires action, not anxiety.
You need buy-in from that entire community if you want real lasting change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to that next step in Kotter's model, building a guiding coalition.
Okay.
But we'll dive deeper into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait. See you there.
So before the break, we were talking about how school leaders can really spark that sense of urgency for change.
Right. Using data and real-world examples
Yeah,
to
exactly.
get everyone on board.
And that brings us to that next crucial step in Kotter's model,
Okay.
building a guiding coalition. This isn't about a lone leader just dictating change,
Right.
but it's about assembling a team of those influential individuals
Okay.
who can champion the vision and drive it forward.
So in a school setting, who are those key players?
Yeah.
Is it just the administrators and,
Right.
the veteran teachers, or are there some...
Yeah, it's definitely surprises in there, more nuanced than just those in traditional positions of authority.
Okay.
You absolutely need those enthusiastic teachers on board, those who can be champions for change within their departments
Yeah.
and inspire their colleagues.
Yeah.
But don't underestimate the influence of parents,
Oh, interesting.
especially those who are actively involved in the school community.
Okay.
They can be powerful advocates, bridging that gap between the school and the wider community.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
Bringing the parents in as part of that change process.
Especially when you're talking about things like curriculum updates or new technology initiatives.
Wow.
And we can't forget about the students.
Oh, yeah, for
They are, after all, the ones most impacted by these changes.
for sure.
So giving them a voice, even in an advisory capacity, can bring such invaluable insights
Yeah.
and really build that sense of ownership over the process.
It's empowering.
Yeah,
But how do you manage all those different perspectives? Make
Yeah.
sure that everyone's voice is heard.
that's where strong communication and facilitation skills come in.
Okay.
This coalition isn't just a group of people.
Right.
It needs to function as a team with a shared purpose and clear communication channels.
So you're talking about regular meetings, open forums,
Yeah.
maybe even online platforms to share ideas?
All of that can be really valuable for keeping everyone connected
Yeah.
and moving in the same direction.
It sounds like building this coalition is almost as important as having a visionary leader in the first place.
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
Because even with the best intentions, a lone leader can only achieve so much.
Right.
Real lasting change requires that collective effort and buy-in from the entire school community.
Which brings us back to this whole idea of the school as a learning organization,
Yeah.
where everyone is engaged in that process of growth and improvement.
Exactly. And one crucial aspect of that continuous improvement is professional development for teachers.
Yeah.
I think it deserves a closer look, especially in the context of creating a learning organization.
I agree. It's one thing to talk about teachers embracing new ideas
Right.
and adapting to change, but how do they acquire the skills and the knowledge they need
Yeah.
to make those shifts?
The traditional model of like mandatory workshops,
Right.
that doesn't exactly scream inspiring, does it?
Not really.
And thankfully, that's where that learning organization model can really shine.
Okay.
It's about moving away from those one-size-fits-all approaches
Yeah.
and embracing a more personalized,
Yeah.
ongoing approach to professional development.
So paint me a picture. What does that look like?
Imagine a school where teachers have a say in their own professional development,
Okay.
where they identify their own areas for growth.
Mm-hmm.
They choose from a variety of learning opportunities.
Yeah.
They can collaborate with their colleagues
Okay.
to share knowledge and best practices.
So instead of just sitting through some generic lecture on classroom management,
Right.
a teacher could maybe take an online course
Exactly.
if they're interested in technology.
Or attend a conference on educational technology.
Yeah.
And maybe another teacher who's struggling with student engagement could participate in a peer coaching program
Oh, cool.
where they observe a colleague's classroom
Mm-hmm.
and receive feedback on their own teaching practices.
It's a much more engaging way
Yeah,
to foster growth.
fun and more effective.
Yeah, than just ticking a box on some checklist.
Right.
But how do you ensure that these individual learning experiences are actually translating into school-wide improvement?
That's where creating that culture of shared learning becomes crucial.
Okay.
It's about encouraging teachers to share what they've learned
Yeah.
with their colleagues, whether it's through informal conversations, team meetings, or even online platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Create a system where everyone is constantly learning from each other
Yeah.
and collectively raising the bar.
I love that.
Yeah.
But how do we know if all this is actually working?
Right.
How do you measure the success of a learning organization?
You've hit on a crucial point.
Yeah.
We're talking about a fundamental shift
Mm-hmm.
in how we think about education.
Yeah.
So our methods of assessment need to evolve as well.
Okay.
It's not just about rote memorization and test scores anymore.
Right. It's about the whole child and their ability to thrive in this world.
Exactly.
But how do you quantify something like that?
It requires a more holistic approach.
Okay.
Looking beyond those narrow measures of academic achievement,
Yeah.
we need to consider factors like student engagement,
Mm.
their ability to think critically, solve problems creatively,
Yeah.
their communication and collaboration skills,
Wow.
even their sense of purpose and well-being.
It's about seeing how they apply their knowledge, how they interact
Yeah,
with each other, how they navigate challenges,
exactly.
both inside and outside the classroom.
And we need to look beyond individual students
Okay.
and assess the impact on the school community as a whole.
Interesting.
Are teachers feeling empowered and supported?
Yeah.
Are parents actively engaged?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a sense of shared purpose,
Right.
a commitment to that continuous improvement?
It's a fascinating challenge.
It is.
Redefining what success looks like.
Yeah, and while that perfect learning organization might not exist yet,
Yeah.
there are inspiring examples of schools around the world
Okay.
that are making remarkable strides in this direction.
That's what I want to hear about. What can we learn from them?
Stay tuned. We'll explore those inspiring examples when we return for the final part of our deep dive.
I'm ready to hear about those real-world examples of schools that are
right.
actually, successfully embracing this learning organization model.
Yeah, so that's where things get a little tricky.
Okay.
Our source material lays out the principles really well,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't name specific schools.
Okay, so no name dropping.
Right, but that doesn't mean we can't learn from what we do know.
All right, challenge accepted.
Right.
Let's pretend we're designing the ideal learning organization school.
Right.
What would it look like? What are the defining characteristics?
The first thing that comes to mind is that sense of shared leadership.
Okay.
Not just decisions flowing from the top down, but genuine distribution of responsibility
Okay.
and ownership.
So instead of just the principal being the sole authority,
Right.
you might see teacher-led committees
Exactly.
working on curriculum development.
Yeah, or even student representatives offering input on school-wide policies.
Wow.
Teachers empowered to design their own professional development.
Mm-hmm.
Parents actively involved in shaping the school's vision. Students having a voice in decisions.
It's like a
No.
democracy in action.
It is. It's a very
School.
collaborative ecosystem.
Yeah. What else would make this school stand out?
A spirit of experimentation and innovation.
Okay.
Just woven into everything they
So
do.
you're not afraid to try new things.
Right. They're not afraid to fail.
Even if it means failing.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's part of the process.
So picture a school that uses cutting-edge technology,
Okay.
but not just as a separate subject. It's
Right.
in every
Integrated into everything.
aspect of learning.
Yeah, maybe they're using virtual reality to bring history lessons to life,
Oh, cool.
or partnering with local businesses to create authentic, project-based learning experiences.
That would be amazing.
And imagine a dedicated space just for tinkering and prototyping,
Okay.
where students can experiment with 3D printing, robotics, or design their own sustainable solutions for the school or the community.
So making mistakes isn't a setback. It's just part of learning.
That learning process.
Yeah.
But how would teachers in this environment be supported to
Right.
keep up with all this?
That's where that learning organization model is so powerful.
Okay.
Professional development wouldn't be a chore. It
Yeah.
would be an ongoing, personalized journey.
So give me an example.
Okay, imagine Teachers having dedicated time each week
Mm-hmm.
to explore new educational technologies,
Okay.
collaborate with colleagues, or even visit other innovative schools to get inspired.
So it's like they're curating their own professional learning
Exactly.
based on what they're interested in.
Choosing pathways that align with their passions and the school's needs.
I like that. And is that personalized approach only for teachers? Or
Whoa, not at all.
could students benefit from it too?
Absolutely. Imagine students having access to personalized learning platforms
Okay.
that cater to their individual learning styles and interests.
So maybe one student thrives in a collaborative online environment,
Right.
but another excels through hands-on project-based learning.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the school provides that flexibility.
Right. Meets them where they are.
It's like we're blurring the lines between
Mhm.
school and life,
Yeah.
creating this environment where learning is just integrated into everything.
And I think that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
To create a culture where learning is not just something you do,
Right.
it's a way of being.
I love that.
It's about fostering that love of learning that extends beyond the classroom
Mhm.
and empowers individuals to thrive in a world where adaptability and continuous growth are so important.
It's a powerful vision.
It is.
It may seem idealistic, but I am encouraged
Yeah.
by the fact that there are schools out there
There are.
that are already moving in this direction.
Yeah, they're proving that it's not just theoretical.
Yeah.
It's a reality.
And these concepts that we've talked about today,
Right.
they're not limited to education, are they?
Not at all. They can be applied to any organization, any community,
Mm-hmm.
even our own personal lives.
It's about embracing that mindset of continuous learning and
Adaptability.
collaborative growth.
So if you're listening out there, whether you're a teacher, a parent, a student,
Right.
or just someone who values lifelong learning,
Mm-hmm.
think about how we can create more learning-centric environments
Yeah.
in our own little worlds.
How can we each contribute to a future where learning is not just valued,
Yeah.
but embraced as a way of life?
Because ultimately, the future of learning isn't something that happens to us.
Right.
It's something we create.
We shape it together.
That's a great message.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep those minds curious
Keep learning.
and those hearts open to the endless possibilities of learning.